massive deals.
What lists do you recommend right now, and what sources do you use to pull those lists? Great question, James. So obviously, build up your driving for dollars, dealmachine.com. Deal Machine, best app out there, very affordable. If you use the coupon code TTP, you get it at $40 instead of $50. It's not a huge savings, but hey, it's 20% off. So definitely start building your driving for dollars. You can also virtually drive for dollars with that app. They've got a really cool attachment for Google Chrome when you're driving around with Google Maps, which makes it really easy to be able to do it virtually. Or if you just don't feel like driving around, then you just do it from your house or get your kid to do it. That's, you know, look for ugly houses. This is what you want to do. There's a ton of videos on it, and or a VA that you pay a couple bucks an hour, or $4 an hour or something. So driving for dollars, driving for dollars, driving for dollars, driving for dollars. Listen, everybody, people are like, well, everybody just driving for dollars. No, they don't. They really don't. People stop after like 100 properties or 200 properties. It's ridiculous. Get them all. Go out there, keep building it. Because at some point, they're gonna have to either put a bunch of money into the property, which 90% of the time they don't have, or they're gonna have to sell it to a cash buyer like you, James. So driving for dollars, number one. Number two is I love tired multifamily deals. Tired multifamily, these are duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes. The best of those are owned by individuals, all right? These are, you know, you look it up, and by the way, I pulled this from PropStream, ttpdata.com, ttpdata.com. For I think it's $97 a month. You can export 10,000. Listen, if you're serious about this business, if there's one tool for real, it's PropStream, ttpdata.com, for real. It helps you comp. It lets you know how much equity are in deals. It lets you know who the actual owners are, what they owe on things, what liens are on there, and they have all the different lists in there. So multifamily, tired multifamily. So what I mean by tired multifamily is make sure that the property is built before 1990. So we want older buildings. Let's make sure that they've owned it for at least 10 years, right? They've already kind of depreciated it on their taxes. That was the reason they bought it. They haven't really upgraded it within that 10 years. It's kind of run down a little bit. They don't really want to fix it up. Who knows what's going on with everything in the world, and they're ready to sell it, right? So tired multifamily deals, duplex, triplex, fourplex. The best thing is, yes, individuals are the best for that, but James, batch skip tracing 2.0 came out with being able, you can now skip trace properties in LLCs and trusts. And brother, I am telling you, that is a huge deal. That is a huge deal. And that it's gonna be a game changer. So I think that there's still about 40% that actually come back, but they're working on that. But that 40%, jump on it now, guys. Jump on it now, because soon everybody's gonna be going after those. So make sure that you don't just pull out the ones that are owned by LLCs and trusts, all right? The next one is the vacant foreclosures, pre-foreclosures, and people are calling these the zombie properties. I didn't even know what it was. I thought that was funny, zombie properties. I asked the guys at PropStream, I said, what is a zombie property? I don't know. He's like, I don't know. I was like, well, what is it? Find the technical term. It's basically vacant pre-foreclosures, right? And this is great because, listen, you can't door knock them. They're vacant. What are you going to do? Mail them? They're vacant. You could call them though. You could TTP them. You could pick up that phone and see what's going on with that. So I really like that. That's a huge advantage. Get ready for this cold call breakdown. This is going to be like drinking out of a fire hose. So this phone prospector, this is one of my phone prospectors that has been with us for years. And her name is Fran. And you are gonna see how aggressive she is on the phone talking to property owners. And there's a reason for that. One, it's her communication style. She doesn't listen to anything that I say or any advice that I give her to open up the conversation. She's just going full force at it, and she really gets the lowest hanging fruit on our list. Okay, and this is one approach. And that's what I like doing. I like showing you a little bit different approaches. I go with a softer approach when I was making calls. I like opening up the conversation so that it's a little bit longer so that I can really understand what's going on. But Fran gets the 4 pillars of pre-qualifying, right? The 4 pillars: condition of the property, timeline to sell, motivation to sell, and the price in the first 90 seconds. Check this out.
I'm calling to ask you about a property. Just wanted to see if that might be available to make an offer on it.
Sure, it's ready. It's a mess in the process of getting things sorted, whether I'm going to keep them or throw them out or donate them.
Oh, okay.
Sure, it's ready. It's in the process of throwing out all my stuff.
Okay, all right. Well, Mr. Post, if we were to buy that in cash and pay all the closing costs with no real estate commissions, and we bought it as is, I mean, we would even clean it out for you, if you know. But what
I've
kind
got
of price
2 years of stuff here, and I'm sure I'm going to keep
really?
some of it.
Oh, okay. Some of it is good. Okay.
She's given value. She's given value. Hey, listen, make a quick decision, make a quicker decision. We'll take care of all that stuff for you. That's what you want to be listening for. What are the problems? What's the sticking points? What's slowing down this process? That's what you're listening for, right? You're really listening for what is holding this person back from getting rid of this problem and moving on with their life, going to greener pastures.
All right. And sir, what kind of price point will you be looking for?
I haven't given it any thought. I just had some problems with the city, and I've had enough in this neighborhood to last me a lifetime.
Okay, so what do we have here? She's asked the price, right? We know that he's having problems with the city, and he's done with this to last a lifetime, he said, right? So we know his motivation. He doesn't want to be in that neighborhood. He's having problems with the city. Well, why do you have problems with the city if you're a homeowner? Because you have junk everywhere. You have things everywhere. This property, we're already pulling the condition. He gives us a little bit more. We're 57 seconds into this call, but he's already telling us the city's after me for fines because I have stuff everywhere. I'm in the process of sorting all that, and I've had enough headaches here to last a lifetime. This guy is ready to go. 57 seconds in.
Enough time frame are you looking at? We might be able to go take a look at it and make an offer.
Well, you can look at it in the condition it's in. I've got drawers pulled apart. I've got piles of stuff in the middle of the living.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah,
But
that's just fine.
I'm gonna.
Minute 32. Timeline, he's ready now. Condition, it's rough. He's telling us all, everything's torn apart. The city's after him. Motivation is city fines, and he doesn't like the neighborhood. And price, he's just not sure yet, right? He's not throwing anything out. So my acquisition managers will take the ball from here and really pull out that price. We determined ARV equals $285,000. Now, here's the tricky part. This is where people have the most questions about this. What I do is, first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to times this by 0.84. All right, let me break this down so that you are crystal clear on why I say 0.84, because a lot of the training says 0.7 on this. All right, times what it'll sell for fixed up by 0.7, and then minus the repair costs, and that's what you can sell it for. That's what you should be wholesaling it for. That's wrong. That is absolutely wrong. That's old school. Don't listen to that. Don't listen to that right now. The 0.84 breaks down like this. 10% is the ROI, return on investment, for the investor. They want to make a minimum of $28,500 on this, okay? $28,500. We'll go, I'm sure somebody's gonna send in some comps that are lower priced, and this is gonna change a little bit, and I'm gonna show you why. But 10% is the ROI, okay? And then 6% of this is the closing cost, closing and agent costs, all right? If you were to, remember, when we're going out and we're trying to find, when we're finding wholesale deals, typically, or just finding anything. If you want to find a flip or whatever, it's really smooth to go and communicate with the property owner and say, hey, listen, this is a net offer to you. We will pay the closing costs. There's no other fees. This is the price that you'll get minus any liens that you have on the property, whether it be a judgment, whether it be a mortgage, whether it be a tax lien, whether it be a contractor's lien, whatever liens, they are responsible for paying that off with the price that you give them, but they don't have to pay their title and escrow and closing attorney fees. All right? It just makes it simpler. It makes them seem like it's a big win when you are paying those costs. It makes it easier math for them to understand, what am I walking away from, right? So I put in 6% for the closing costs of purchasing that, because the cash buyer not only has to pay their closing costs, they have to pay the seller's closing costs as well. All right, that's really important. So we go 0.84. Mike, are you on me with the calculator?
Yeah, and also I got a question. So the number, the 0.84 is 239,400.
Okay.
Okay. So when we're figuring out how much can we offer as a wholesaler, we got to start with our cash buyers in mind.
Yes.
And what they can ultimately sell it for after it's been fixed up.
Yep.
Right. So that ARV, that after repair value, we figure they can sell it all fixed up for $285,000.
Yep.
Right. And then they're going to have costs. Right. So they're going to have to pay closing costs, agent commissions. That's where that 6% comes in.
Mm-hmm.
And then they want to make some money too.
Mm-hmm.
So they want to make 10% on the 285 with a minimum of 20,000. Right.
We'll get into the minimum.
Got it. Okay.
I'll get into the minimum once we have a lower price
Cool.
comp.
So in this
we've
comp,
got one
though,
coming up
the
from
example
Cody.
in this one is at 0.84. That's basically 10 plus 6 is 16%.
Yep.
So 100 minus 16% is that 0.84.
That's it.
Right.
Yep.
And that's where we come up with that 239,400.
That's it.
Okay. Cool.
Right.
Yep.
Now, Matt, if you would, will you pull up that matrix on estimated costs for repairs? Okay. Now, listen. Take a screenshot of this. All right. You pull me off real quick. There you go. Take a screenshot of this. All right. This is really important because there's 3 different ways to evaluate this property, to evaluate any property. If you walk into a house and you see this house and it looks like it's an easy remodel, which what I mean is you just have to put carpet and paint, you got to put some new appliances in it, then it's $10,000. Right? If it needs a lot of work, if it needs some work, like, oh man, this needs some work, $25,000. And then if it's really bad, like, wow, this is bad, $40,000 for this specific property. But if you use this matrix, take a look at it again. What I'm going to look at here is, I'm going to say that this property, it has a newer roof, okay? Looks like it needs, it looks like the windows are newer, which is great. And I'm going to say that it needs work. I'm going to say that for $25,000, I can do a lot of work to this. But remember the pool. Remember the pool. The pool needs to be taken care of. I assume that the reason it's empty is because the pool equipment stopped working and it needs resurfacing, okay? So I'm gonna add an additional $10,000 to that fix-up cost, okay? I'm gonna go, actually, because that's a diving pool and it's much deeper and it's gonna need a lot of work, I'm gonna add 15 just to be safe, and I'm gonna knock off $40,000 for the repairs.
Hey, Brent, quick question. So going back to that repair matrix, which is awesome, can we flush out just a little bit more, like and just more generically, like an easy, is that just lipstick, paint, carpet, tile?
Yep.
And then what's the next one? The next
needs
one is
work.
Needs work. Would needs work be like all of that plus appliances? I mean, how would you, can we kind of flush out and just give you some ideas of how you would categorize on a per property basis?
So needs work is that it's like totally dated, and to bring it up to selling standards, to bring it up to get to the 285, like that property that we saw, it needs cabinetry, right? Not a lot. These are smaller houses, right? So these kitchens aren't huge. It needs cabinetry, it needs flooring, it needs the paint, it needs appliances, it needs fixtures. All of those things add to that $25K budget there, right? And then you want to add things on as you're seeing things, right? If it's a new air conditioning unit, $5,000, right? And this one might need a new air conditioning unit. So let's change that to 45. I'm going to change that to $45,000 repair because I forgot about those units looked older. All right. If it needs pool equipment, $5,000. If it needs pool resurfacing, $5,000 to $10,000. I always think that $5,000 is a good budget if it needs major major items.
Same thing for a roof.
For a roof, it just depends on the size, but yeah, $5,000 is good for an average size home. But if it's bigger, then you go up from there. Yep.
So on needs work, would that be putting in new cabinets or just refinishing the cabinets in the kitchens and the bathrooms?
Probably new. Probably new, because this is 1960s. They probably haven't been switched out. I don't know inside there. You'd have to take a look. But yeah, I would say that you could get it done there.
So easy is just like it sounds. That's trash it out and paint it, put some carpet in, maybe some tile. That's it. Right? If we're going to start doing more stuff, appliances, fixtures, cabinets, stuff like that, that's a needs work, right? And then wow, this is bad. That's just like what?
It's bad. I mean, everything needs to be ripped out. It needs everything. It needs new electrical. It needs new plumbing. It needs a new roof. It needs like all these things, right? That's where, wow, this is bad. It's just like, oh my gosh, I need junk out. I need to get the smell of smoke out of there. It smells like 1,000 cats have lived in here. those type of things. Yeah. So I'm going to put $45,000 for the repair there, and that puts us to, what is that, Mike? 194,600. Yep.
194,400.
That's what I thought. There we go. 194,400. So that's what I know that I can sell this. This is the wholesale price.
Hey Brent, question. We get this a lot on social media too, but does this repair chart table work for every market?
Yeah. I mean, you can adjust it a little bit if you're in California, if you're in Seattle, if you're in those really high price points, because what happens is you put more, you put better fixtures and better appliances into the properties. So if you need to put more, sorry, I'm staying on. If you put more expensive items into the property, then it's going to be more. Yep. Awesome. And then that's your wholesale price, $194,400. And so I would probably we like making $30,000 on our deals. So I would be at $164,400, and that's where I'd start the negotiations.
Okay, so your max offer price in this case would be $164,400. You're hoping to make $30,000.
Yep.
And sell it to a cash buyer for $194,400. And then after they do all that other stuff, they pay for the repairs, they fix it up, they pay their agents and closing costs. Hopefully they can sell it for $285,000 and make 10%, $28,500.
And they might be able to push that value.
Got it. Okay.
Yep. They might be able to push that value. And in this market, I would probably put this thing out at $200,000 and see what happens. Yep. Yeah, I like pushing the values right now with the lack of inventory.